distinguished delegates, fellow speakers, and dear ladies and gentlemen. So I have framed my opinion on the given topics completely purely from the perspective of Dalits with disabilities. So I would really like to thank the first speaker, Ms. Mary, who set the ground for me, speaking very clearly about the Dalits in Pakistan. So Dalits are the communities that have historically faced systemic exclusion, economic marginalization and social discrimination, including practice of untouchability. Dalits are a large and historically marginalized group of South Asian people. An estimated 260 million Dalits live in South Asia. Dalits with disabilities represent one of the most marginalized, invisibilized and underrepresented groups facing entrenched and compounded discrimination at the intersection of caste, disability and often gender. Allow me to begin with one concrete contribution our community is making to strengthen the Nepal social fabric. Across Nepal, Dalits with disabilities are advancing social cohesion through practical community solutions. For example, in several rural municipalities at local level, self-organized groups of Dalits with disabilities have been mediating disputes related to access to basic service like water points, relief distribution, and local development schemes. By facilitating dialogues between marginalized households and ward officials, they have helped resolve tensions, reduce discriminatory practice, and ensure fair access for all. These locally led efforts have strengthened community trust and contributed to more peaceful, accountable, and local governance. Despite facing discrimination in their everyday lives, these leaders are contributing to building more accountable, transparent, and inclusive local governance, which directly supports social cohesion and peaceful coexistence. But such contributions are really recognized, and many barriers prevent them from scaling up. So, why these are preventing, I would like to highlight some of the obstacles or the barriers that they have been facing. The ability of Dalits with disabilities to participate, to contribute, and lead is severely obstructed by a set of overlapping structural barriers and systemic exclusion. These obstacles are also the drivers of mistrust, exclusion, and conflict, not only between communities, but also between the citizens and the state institutions. Here, I would like to share with you all the 6 key obstacles or barriers that hinder these contributions. So one of the barriers is caste-based discrimination and untouchability. Caste continues to set access to resource, opportunities, and dignity. Dalits with disabilities, especially women, girls, and queer individuals, frequently encounter segregation, refusal of services, and derogatory treatment when they attempt to participate in community or government processes. Second is about the exclusion based on disability. Because of lack of very targeted and inclusive policies, inaccessible physical infrastructure, information, communication and technologies, lack of assistive device, and social stigma, many Dalits with disabilities are deprived from access to the available resources, facilities and services. Their contributions are dismissed before they are heard. The third one is on gender inequality. Dalits women and girls with disabilities are heightened vulnerability to violence, harassment and silencing, which restrict their full and effective participation in the public space and undermines their leadership potential. The fourth one is the chronic poverty. Multi-generational poverty limits access to education, political participation and digital technology, directly affecting their ability to engage in governance or public life. The fifth one is on lack of representation and recognition. Dalits with disabilities are systematically excluded from the government structures and mechanisms, policies, programs and budget, and mainstream disability rights movement, Dalit rights movement and other social and human rights movements. This exclusion fuels mistrust. Communities feel unseen, unheard and unprotected. The sixth one is about the harmful social norms and cultural beliefs. Beliefs that disability or caste are forms of karma or the pollution reinforce the exclusion both within the family systems and widely in the society. These narratives weaken social cohesion and reinforce social hierarchies. Together, taking these Together, these overlapping barriers create a climate where the positive contribution of Dalits with disabilities are not fully realized or acknowledged, despite our community's resilience, skills, and commitment to inclusive development. The intersectional realities why these barriers compound. Isolation faced by Dalits with disabilities does not arise from a single source. It is the intersection of caste identity, disability status, gender, and poverty that intensifies the exclusion. These forms of discrimination compound one another, leaving Dalits with disabilities among the most hidden and marginalized groups in Nepal. Peaceful coexistence cannot be achieved when a community is persistently marginalized at multiple levels. So we have adopted some strategies for this. Despite the structural barriers and systemic exclusion, our organization has been implementing concrete strategies to reduce exclusion, rebuild trust, and strengthen social cohesion. The one is leadership development and capacity building. The second one is community dialogues and social norm transformation. Third one is promoting inclusive local governance. And fourth is documentation of discrimination and support for justice. And fifth one is also building coalition with other allies and movements. And finally, we also are adopting the strategy of raising awareness for the rights on different international and national normative frameworks. So how we, the community, can contribute to the resilient and peaceful societies. When these obstacles are addressed, Dalits with disabilities are not only the participants as passive recipient, but they are also the active contributors as the matter of subject. Our community plays a key role in building transparency, strengthening local trust, and fostering peaceful coexistence. Trust cannot be built where discrimination persists. Social cohesion cannot be achieved when entire communities are rendered invisible. But when Dalits with disabilities are recognized, represented, and supported, Nepal's social fabric becomes stronger, more resilient, and more peaceful. We stand ready to contribute. We only ask for the enabling condition to do so. Thank you.